had an awesome game. It was Ravens-Browns for
That's right.
CBS.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
On
that game killed me.
TV, and I lived for everything that happened, right? Like, I love the any given Sunday. I mean, the Browns had lost 5 in a row. The Ravens had won 5 in a row. And obviously the Browns get a new quarterback in there. Jameis chucks it around. But also, you know, the Browns have some of the most loyal fans in the NFL. I mean, they're diehard, and their franchise has given them very, very little, which is something you guys know about.
Yes, we know
going
that
back
very
to
well.
99.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was their first home win this year. I was, like, so happy for those people. They celebrate that win. When he threw that touchdown pass, and then when the game ended, it wasn't like FedEx or whatever you guys are calling it now with the Hail Mary, but they were going crazy. Like, Sunday was actually a great day for beaten down fan bases to have, you know, once every couple of year moments, it seemed like.
Hey, Ross, for those that didn't watch that game this past weekend, just talk about how stark of a difference it was watching Jameis operate that offense as opposed to Deshaun Watson. And I've been saying for almost a month, like, you got to get Jameis in there. Like, he's going to make mistakes. Sure, you can live with them, but at least he's going to give the wide receivers opportunities to make plays, and we clearly saw that this past weekend.
Well, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
My line was, any game Jameis Winston ever plays, he's going to get at least 4. And I'm talking combined touchdowns, interceptions. You
right.
don't know if it's going to be like 2-2
Yeah.
or 0 touchdowns, picks.
Right.
He's going to get – so as a broadcaster, he's like gold because something is going to happen. Then, like, he's getting interviewed, and after every answer, he looks at the camera. It looks like the guy is hilarious.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he threw the ball right to the Ravens. Like he gifted them multiple interceptions, and they dropped all of them. It was hard to believe.
Yeah.
But he's going to sling it, and the Ravens were down their top 2 corners. Humphrey didn't play. Andrew Wiggins didn't play. So it was like the perfect storm. And the reason why he wasn't playing earlier is we all know Watson's contract, which that's going to be like one of the we're setting up guys to have some of the most awkward situations in NFL history, right? So number one, you know, in November and December, the Jets, with a first ballot Hall of Famer in his 40s, they're going to be playing meaningless games.
Right.
Like, is Aaron Rodgers going to be playing December 12th when the Jets are 4-10 against the Titans or something? I mean, this is like, I can't remember a situation like that. And then for the Browns, the cap hit for Watson is over $70 million each of the next 2 years. He's guaranteed $45 million. So I don't know if they're going to pay him that money to stay home and chill. I don't know if they're going to pay him that money to be the backup, but no one's going to take him. Like, no one's going to take that contract. Maybe they can eat a bunch of it and someone will still give him a chance to be a starter somewhere else. But we got a whole lot of awkwardness coming up in the NFL.
So what'd you make of the Hail Mary here in Washington and what Jayden Daniels and this franchise has done so far?
Well, you guys know, because I started my career there and finished it there, I have an affinity for your franchise, and in particular for the fans down there. We've talked about this a million times, but when I was there in 01 and 02, it was still really cool to be a Redskin. And then even 07, because Gibbs, you know, when I came back and Gibbs was here, there was still a lot. And then just the erosion doing games on the radio there over the last 5 years or whatever, it's like painful.
Yep.
Because there's so many people that used to be Washington fans. I don't know many under the age of 20, right? Like my nieces, my nephew. So I'm hoping, you know, they had a little bit of it with RG3, but I'm hoping having Jayden, having Dan Quinn and his energy as a coach, and then, you know, having a moment like that, I'm hoping that moment, the new owner, I'm hoping that can spur the fan base to be reignited. It kind of feels like it is. So I was thrilled that that franchise got that moment, talking like on a macro level. On a micro level, I am amazed that Eberflus, the Bears head coach, screwed up the play before as badly as he did and isn't taking accountability for it.
Right.
So you guys know I do the Eagles preseason games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do a bunch of Philly radio, which, by the way, is very interesting because they are furious with the Sixers owner, Josh Harris, who's also the Commanders owner, because they kind of keep, lying or whatever about whether or not Embiid will play. So, like, they're not happy with Josh Harris right now in Philadelphia, to be kind. But, the Eagles, before every preseason game, the day before at walkthrough, when I'm there, they practice those exact two plays. Like, they practice the play before a Hail Mary, then they practice the Hail Mary. You don't give them a free 15 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. Anything else would have been, with 6 seconds left, anything other than them giving them a free 15 yards would have ended the game because they would have had to complete the ball in the field of play. Jayden could not throw a 85-yard Hail Mary at that point, right? So you cannot give them those free 15 yards. You have at least two guys guarding the boundary. It's like mind-boggling, A, that he messed that up, and then B, that after the game, and even now, from what I've seen, he won't take accountability. He says that play didn't matter, those yards didn't matter.
He's an idiot.
You can't say that. And then, it's funny because on some level, Stevenson screwed him because Stevenson tipped the ball and,
right.
Noah Brown caught it, and we all know what happened. But on the other hand, Stevenson did him a favor in the sense that everybody's focusing on that.
Mm-hmm.
The Stevenson part of it, I mean, he's a second-year kid, right? Like, he got caught up in the moment. The thing that's hilarious to me about that is if he just kept taunting the fans, the Bears would have won. He went over.
Right.
He went over and volleyball said
That's actually a great point.
To Noah Brown. Like, if the whole video from that guy in the stands is just Stevenson waving and he never goes over there and tries to get involved in the play, that ball doesn't get tipped back to Noah Brown. They could do a 30 for 30 on those last two plays. It's incredible.
But going back to the Eberflus decision, there's a really good side-by-side. Maybe you saw it on Instagram where you see Eberflus saying, well, the earlier play didn't matter. It all comes down to the last play, right?
Yeah.
And then Dan Quinn in the presser is talking about how big the previous plays were before the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
What are your impressions of Dan Quinn so far here in Washington?
Absolutely love Dan Quinn. I've always loved Dan Quinn when he was the Falcons head coach, my interactions with him. You know how, like, I have a lot of energy and I love football and love life and all those things? That's Dan Quinn. Like, Dan Quinn and I would be boys. I can just picture hanging out with Dan Quinn on a Friday night. Like, he's that guy. He's exactly that guy. He is obsessed and loves football, but he loves meeting people. Like, he loves every aspect of it. You can tell that the players love him. When that many players go up to him after the Hail Mary and they're, like, hugging him, that is awesome. And then when those guys are waiting for Jayden Daniels after his interview, I mean, you guys have a really, really special thing going right now because not only do you have a really good team and a really good player, but you're likable. You're actually likable.
Right.
The quarterback is likable. The head coach is likable. And even, people will bust his chops because the Falcons blew the game against the Patriots. Listen, a lot of people blew games against the Patriots. And by the way, Kyle Shanahan didn't do many favors with some of the play calling on the offensive side of the ball in that game. And it happened and whatever. Doesn't mean he's not a good coach. He won a ton of games in Atlanta. He totally turned around the Cowboys defense. Now, having Micah helped a lot, but he totally turned around the Cowboys defense. And look at what the Cowboys defense is like this year. Look at how they're playing this year. And now I thought it was a great hire for Washington. A lot of times people don't like retreads. I know you guys all wanted Ben Johnson. I get it.
I didn't.
think Ben Johnson's
I
fantastic.
did. I'll be honest, I did.
Yeah, of course you listen. Look, I get texts from my Eagles fans, buddy, that are like, "We need to lose more games so we can get." I'm like, dude, you guys are 5-2. Like, what are you talking about? Like, people love Ben Johnson, and I totally get it. But no, I mean, obviously, you guys are in a great place. It's funny though because all the Eagles fans were not happy that happened for you guys because obviously right now it's a 2-team race in the NFC East between the Commanders and the Eagles.
Do you think they're legit? Like the way the season's playing out, here we are at 6-2. Can they actually start to think of themselves as legit contenders?
Like to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. It's hard for me to say that, but I'm asking.
So listen, they in the locker room right now, those guys absolutely think that they can beat anybody and think that as soon as you have, and I've played for 5 teams, right? And I played when the quarterback was Tom Brady, and I played when the quarterback was not Tom Brady, right? As soon as you have a quarterback that you really believe in and you start to have some success and win games, you think you can beat anybody. I mean, that 2001 season with the Redskins, when we won 5 in a row with Tony Banks, we thought we could do anything. Even 2007 when Todd Collins was in and we won several games at the end of the year, like you really do start to believe. So absolutely those guys think that. Do I think that the Commanders can win 3 playoff games this year? No, I don't. I don't think they're good enough. I think they're still missing some pieces that they'll need and maybe they'll have in 2025. I don't think that they're as good as they're not as talented as the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not as talented as the Detroit Lions. They're not as talented as the 49ers yet. Doesn't mean they can't beat them. They can. I don't think they can beat them 3 weeks in a row to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think they're there yet. But, stranger things have happened. I think by next year, though, there's a chance they'll be very much in the mix.